In the heart of New York City, in the iconic Twin Towers, Morgan Stanley, a titan of finance, had its offices. Every year, the company held its annual shareholder meeting, a gathering of minds and ambitions. In a twist of fate, the 2001 meeting was moved. It was a logistical decision, a minor change in the grand scheme of things. But for hundreds of Morgan Stanley employees, it was a decision that meant the difference between life and death. The meeting was originally scheduled to take place on the 106th floor of the South Tower, a location offering breathtaking views of the city. However, due to renovations, the venue was shifted to the Marriott Hotel, located at the base of the World Trade Center complex. This seemingly mundane change had profound consequences. Imagine the anticipation, the nervous energy of hundreds of employees preparing for the meeting, unaware that fate had other plans for them. Imagine their relief, their surprise, upon learning of the venue change, a change that would ultimately save their lives. As the world watched in horror as the towers fell, the employees of Morgan Stanley, gathered at the Marriott, were spared from the devastation. The National Association for Business Economics, or NABE, had planned its annual breakfast meeting at the Windows on the World restaurant. Perched high above the bustling city on the 107th floor of the North Tower, it promised a morning of networking and insightful discussions. However, fate, it seemed, had other plans. Just a few days before the event, the NABE encountered a scheduling conflict. A keynote speaker, a pivotal figure in the economic world, had to cancel their appearance. Disappointed, but determined to make the best of the situation, the NABE made the last-minute decision to cancel the breakfast. Little did they know that their decision, driven by logistical inconvenience, would have life-altering consequences. Imagine the bustling restaurant, filled with the aroma of coffee and the murmur of conversations that never was. Imagine the attendees, oblivious to the disaster that would have befallen them, going about their day unaware of the thin thread from which their lives hung. In New York City, near the World Trade Center, were the offices of Odigo. This Israeli instant messaging company was known for its innovation and communication. On the morning of September 11th, the Odigo offices were unusually quiet. Many employees who lived in New Jersey were not present. A company meeting scheduled for that morning had been canceled. The cancellation was due to logistical reasons. The timing and the proximity to the World Trade Center made the quiet office feel eerie. The Odigo offices were quiet, with empty desks and unanswered phones. As news of the attack spread, there was a growing sense of dread. After the tragedy, a significant discovery was made. 2 hours before the first plane hit, an Odigo employee received an instant message. The message was brief and ominous: "Get out of the building." In the tapestry of life, our paths are often shaped by seemingly insignificant decisions, by twists of fate that can alter our destinies in profound ways. Such was the case for the employees of Keenan Financial Services, a company that had offices on the 101st floor of the South Tower. Howard Lutnick, the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, a bond trading firm that shared the same floor as Keenan Financial Services, was notably absent on the morning of September 11th. He had overslept, a rare occurrence for the driven executive. Lutnick's tardiness would have a ripple effect, inadvertently saving the lives of several Keenan Financial Services employees. See, Lutnick's young son was scheduled to start kindergarten that day at a private school on the Upper East Side. As fate would have it, Lutnick had decided to accompany his son to his first day of school, a decision that delayed his arrival at the World Trade Center. He was on his way downtown when the first plane hit the North Tower. Lutnick's absence meant that the usual hustle and bustle of the trading floor was noticeably subdued. This lull in activity provided a window of opportunity for some of the Keenan Financial Services employees to escape. Imagine the chaos and confusion as the first plane hit, the disorientation, the scramble for safety. Imagine the relief of those Keenan Financial Services employees who, thanks to Lutnick's delayed arrival, were able to make their way to safety. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, known for his electrifying performances and chart-topping hits, was an unlikely beneficiary of fate's intervention on September 11th. Jackson, who had been up late the previous night working on a musical project, was scheduled to attend a meeting at the World Trade Center on the morning of the attacks. The meeting, a business affair, was set to take place in one of the towers, though the exact location remains a subject of speculation. As fate would have it, Jackson overslept. Exhausted from his late-night recording session, he slept through his alarm, missing his scheduled departure for the World Trade Center. Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, known for her charitable work and her high-profile marriage to Prince Andrew, was scheduled to be at the World Trade Center on the morning of September 11th. The Duchess was a patron of Chances for Children, a charity founded by her friend, the bond trader John Castellano. Castellano's firm, Speed, occupied the 105th floor of the South Tower. Ferguson had been invited to attend an event at Speed's offices that morning, an event that promised to raise both funds and awareness for her beloved charity. She had even pre-recorded a message to be played at the event, a testament to her commitment to the cause. However, fate, it seemed, had other plans for the Duchess. On the morning of September 11th, Ferguson found herself running behind schedule. She had agreed to an interview with the television personality Matt Lauer, a commitment that would inadvertently save her life. The interview, scheduled to take place at NBC studios in Rockefeller Center, ran longer than expected. As a result, Ferguson was still at NBC when the first plane hit the North Tower. Mark Wahlberg, the acclaimed actor known for his versatility and his tough guy persona, was scheduled to be on American Airlines Flight 11 on September 11, 2001. The flight, originating from Boston and destined for Los Angeles, was the first of the 4 planes hijacked on that fateful day. Wahlberg, along with a group of friends, had planned to attend a film festival in Toronto. They had booked tickets on Flight 11, a direct route to their destination. However, as fate would have it, Wahlberg and his entourage decided to change their travel plans at the last minute. They opted to charter a private plane instead, a decision prompted by their desire to make a stopover in New York City before continuing on to Toronto. Imagine the last-minute scramble, the frantic phone calls, the logistical challenges of arranging a private jet on short notice. Imagine the relief, the gratitude, the overwhelming sense of disbelief as Wahlberg and his friends watched in horror as the events of September 11th unfolded. Seth MacFarlane, the creative force behind the animated sitcom Family Guy, known for his irreverent humor and his sharp wit, was another individual who narrowly escaped being on one of the planes that crashed on September 11th. MacFarlane was scheduled to fly from Boston to Los Angeles on American Airlines Flight 11, the same flight that Mark Wahlberg had originally booked. He had been in New York City for a speaking engagement and was eager to return to Los Angeles, where Family Guy was in production. However, fate, it seemed, had other plans for MacFarlane. Due to a mix-up with his travel agent, he received the wrong departure time for his flight. Believing that his flight was scheduled to depart later in the morning, MacFarlane arrived at Logan Airport in Boston just as the gates were closing.